Jabber talk, jabber talk. Jabber, 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 jabber talk. Jabber talk, jabber talk. Jabber, 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 jabber talk. Miss Jabber, Miss Jabber, Jabber talk.
We're back for the Jabber Talk podcast. Yes, I'm Jackie Malcolm, and there is always a pixie sitting on the pot.
Yeah, you did make it sound like there's a pixie sitting on the pot. But there isn't a pot.
I thought I said pod, but
there is a pod.
You know when you're swallowing at the same time?
Yes.
I didn't mean pod. Sorry, pod.
It's all right.
There is a pixie sitting on the pod.
On the pot, in the pod.
Oh my goodness. So we've already been talking about the fact that it is, I say already talking about the fact, sorry, we've just recorded our show, our radio show on Colourful Radio, that you can also catch us every Tuesday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. So please do listen in. But on the podcast, I should quickly add, can you believe, Pixie, that it is already September?
No. I refuse to believe
and
accept. Except it means it's closer to my birthday.
What are we doing for your birthday?
October. Oh, we want to do something casino related.
We do, whether that's at home or whether that's at an actual casino, we still have not decided.
New roulette wheel.
We don't even know if casinos are open, so we'd have to have a little look.
Someone was going to have a look. Someone in this room.
Yes, but someone is also dealing with other two sisters' birthdays.
Oh yes,
that are coming up in September. So that's the only reason why.
Mine's always last, and everyone runs out of energy by the time it comes to mine.
Except for me. So don't you worry. Now. Okay, so yes, it is nearly the end of the year already. We're running very fast into Christmas. Looks like this year is a bust in terms of things aren't going to get back to normal this year. So we all just accept that now. We go with the flow and just get on with it, right?
Get ready for the new normal.
And get ready for the new normal and to whatever newness 2021 brings. So to get on though with today's podcast, we had to talk about what is going on in Kenosha, Wisconsin at the moment. Because there is a tale of two stories that are so intricately intertwined and yet perfectly highlights the difference.
Yeah.
So, as you know, throughout this the last few months, Black Lives Matter has just taken off. Everyone is talking about it. Not everyone is supporting it, but everyone's talking about it. It's a big subject that is causing debates and people to change the way the infrastructure of their universities, of their companies, and it's really being addressed.
Yeah.
And yet, still, the likes of Jacob Blake and Kyle Rittenhouse can still happen. So, to really break these two stories down very quickly.
Before you start breaking them down, like you said, can still happen. And it's like, well, can still happen and it's still happening after the whole George Floyd thing. It's like...
Exactly.
Really?
Exactly, to this level. That's what I mean. To this level.
Unbelievable.
After George Floyd and the mass global demonstrations that have been going on.
Right.
So, Kenosha, Wisconsin. Jacob Blake, 29-year-old, black father, 2 kids. He turned up at his girlfriend's premises. Now, one report I'd read was that somebody had called the police that he shouldn't be there. Another report I've just read said that it was his girlfriend who called the police saying he shouldn't be there. But somebody, a female, called the police to say that he should not be on the premises. So the police turned up. Now, first of all, it's a domestic violence case.
Yes.
7 police officers turned up.
7 for a domestic violence.
For a domestic, and it wasn't a domestic disturbance. It wasn't violence. It wasn't that he was beating anyone down. Maybe they were then having an argument. 7 police officers turn up. Why not just 2?
As you normally have.
As you normally would.
No reports of him being armed.
Thank you.
Just
he
should be here.
Yeah. So therefore 2 police officers should be more than enough to talk to a man to tell him to leave premises. 7 police officers turn up. So then they they then try to. There is some kind of fight. He does resist arrest, apparently, according to these reports, and so they try to taser him.
Right.
The tasers do not work, and so then he ends up walking away from the police officers to the side of his car, and he's reaching in. Now, this is where the debate is, because one report, they're saying that he was just going for his ID. Mm-hmm. Other reports saying they found a knife by the floor on the driver's side where he was reaching. Mm-hmm. My thought is, there's no way anyone, especially a black guy, is going to reach for a knife to go up against guys with guns. Had he been reaching for a gun, then maybe he'd lost his mind and he thought he was going to shoot himself out of there. Right. But there's no way, even common sense tells you he's not reaching for a gun. So then I'm thinking the police officers probably planted that gun because they knew they were about to, the knife, because they knew they were about to get in big trouble. Mm. So, which is not something that is unusual. So then the police officer who was first to chase him, or by now everyone had drawn their guns on him. He reaches into the car behind him, pulls him out, but while still holding him by the back, he then shoots him in the back. Mm. And they end up, so then all police officers shoot, and they end up shooting him in the back 7 times. The man is now paralysed in hospital. Yeah. Whilst in hospital, they then have him arrested for the original charges, and they said other unrelated charges that he was up against, and so they arrested him and handcuffed him to the bed, even though the man is now paralysed and cannot walk. But they handcuff him to the bed.
Disgusting.
It is absolutely disgusting. So then his lawyers say they've looked into it. All of those charges have now been dropped. They'd already been dealt with, and so they had to release him. So that is then what caused the unrest in Wisconsin, where now there are loads of protests, loads of debates, joined by both black, white, Indian, Native American, everyone is joining the protests to say enough's enough, we do not want police brutality anymore. Mm. During these protests, this is when the story of Kyle Rittenhouse comes up. 17-year-old white Caucasian boy who decides he's going to get his rifle, and it's a similar one to what the police carry. So when you see those heavy set rifles at the police, it was similar to that one. He decides to load himself with that to go out and join the protests on behalf of the police, carrying a sign saying Blue Lives Matter.
Right, yes, he had that all over his social media.
And all over his social media. So he's there to support the police. He then ends up shooting two people, doesn't say at the moment whether they were black or white. He shoots at 3 of the protesters, kills 2 of them, and then one of them he's harmed. So he's in hospital. So at the moment he has now been arrested, and he's up for first-degree murder. He's going to be tried for first-degree murder and attempted murder, but that is the debate, the appeal is whether he gets extradited back to Wisconsin, because he wasn't even from the area. He had just heard about the uproar, riots, and he decided to go and join it. Thank you. So here's my upset. Here's where I get really angry. Because on the night when he shot these people, the police had already been notified that there was a teenager with a rifle who has shot and killed 2 people and has already harmed another person. He is out there in the riots. He's got to be found and taken down, in the sense of stop him. So the police already knew this. The same time, Kyle, these are all videos showing Kyle with the gun strapped to his chest, his arms raised, so he's clearly saying, I'm guilty, but here I am surrendering, walking towards the police. The police clock him, see him, ignore him, jump in their cars to go and deal with the injured people on the floor.
Disgusting.
Why wasn't he shot and killed without any question? Well, why wasn't he at least arrested there and then, as soon as they clocked him? Why wasn't their guns drawn on him? Because he was a white male. It's just like those white young boys, 17-year-old, 15-year-olds, get guns, shoot up schools, kill teachers, kill students. What have they done?
To tell the tale, unless they've taken their own life.
Thank you. The last one who did it, they show a video of him being given a burger by the side of the car. So he's not even been at taken to prison yet, to the jail. He's sitting by the side of the car with the police around him. They know it's him. And he says he's hungry. So they buy him a burger. So he's not hungry anymore. He's just killed children and he's just killed teachers. But they give him a burger. He's alive to eat a burger. A young man, 29-year-old, 2 children, he gets shot in the back
of his children.
Thank you. 7 times for a domestic disturbance. So they were arguing.
It's disgusting, isn't it?
And then they wonder why we're out there with people are out there protesting with our signs saying Black Lives Matter.
It's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable.
And it's like, okay, so let's just put it in a neutral place where, there was the slavery, there was all the things, and there's all these issues that are still being worked on.
Yes.
And we've got to this place where there is still the racism in the police force. But then when the whole world does an uproar and says,
it's
stop,
not good enough. Yes.
We see what you're doing. You need to stop.
Yes.
How do they feel? Where does that arrogance come from that you can still do it?
Exactly.
Because it happened in England as well. There was a man was arrested, and while they had him pinned down, he was already pinned down.
Yes. And
one of the white policemen kneels on his neck.
This is after the George Floyd.
After the George Floyd.
Yes. Exactly.
Where does this arrogance come from?
Yes.
That makes them think that they can do it? Well, we know where it comes from. It's because they get away with it every time. They're never arrested.
How often do we hear?
They're suspended.
Thank you. They're
on
administration leave.
Yeah.
That means they don't have to go out with their guns anymore and put their lives at risk. Now they have to just do paperwork. But they're still or they're suspended, but with full pay. So now they're just at home until it all disappears and no one's asking questions anymore.
Yeah.
How many times do we hear about any of these police officers being taken to account?
Right.
When they are taken to account, 90% of them are found not guilty because well, it's in the line of duty. It's disgusting.
It is.
The unbalance of it. It would be one thing. I mean, I have watched videos where white men have, police officers try to arrest a white male for the same thing, whatever the black male has been doing.
Yeah.
Then I've literally seen white guys get out of their cars, pull out their guns, and chase the police officer down, and those police officers do not shoot back.
It's unbelievable.
Not once do they shoot back. And yet if that's a black man, just for opening their window wrong, they're going to get shot in the face.
They are.
And they're trying to tell me there's no injustice, that no, we're just seeing things. This is nonsense. And when does it come to an end? When does it stop? People say to me all the time, oh, Jack, do you go out and protest? Hell no, I don't go out. I'm sorry, no, I'm not going out there.
17-year-old would go out with a gun and say, Blue Lives Matter, pum, pum, pum.
Pum, pum, pum. If I go out as a black person, suddenly I'm rioting. If I raise my voice, suddenly I'm angry. I'm not just expressing what's going wrong and trying to make change. No, white people can go out and protest all they want, and it doesn't matter how angry they get. It doesn't matter how looty they get.
Apparently,
it doesn't matter what they do.
When white people go out and march, they are on a holy mission.
Thank you.
That shows that they care.
It
shows
they've got their right
touch.
Motives. They've done the right motives. And they have the right to. I mean, look at the
done their homework.
Right.
They've
researched it properly. Yes.
Yeah.
And yet, if we go out, then automatically, as soon as you see a group of black people out there protesting, we're a riot.
Yeah.
That means, hands down, we're out there to cause trouble. And so, therefore, the police are going to turn up with their guns. And no, I'm not going out there to do that. I'm sorry. I will protest with my voice. I will use every platform I have to have a voice on all of this. I will join as many groups as I can to have a voice on all of this where it matters and where we can see change. But no, And so if there's any other black people out there who don't actually go out and do a physical protest, I'm totally with you. I get why. It doesn't mean that you're lazy or that you don't care. Of course we care. Of course we care. But I'm not risking my life to protest for something I know is right. Because why? Until I see change, until I know that it's safe for me to go out and protest without the thought that someone is going to come and shoot me in the head, whether it's someone who's saying Blue Lives Matter or the police who are saying she looked at me wrong, I'm not going out there. I'm sorry, I'm not going to put myself as a target.
Right. So when you say that you will use every platform that you've got, does that mean your platform shoes as well?
Okay. I'm not sure if that's the time to make one of your silly jokes, but I guess it's the perfect time to end the conversation because it's no longer a conversation. You've gone into making silly faces and silly noises. So be safe out there. If you are one of the people going out and protesting, please, that's all we say, be safe. We have got to see change. And whether you are physically going out to protest or whether you're like me and you're using social media, you're using your opportunities, you're using your radio shows, you're using your voice amongst different boards and amongst different sets of people, make sure, no matter what, your voice is heard.
And this is where the Caucasians can actually step in and help. They can go out and protest for us
without
fear of being shot.
Exactly.
And having someone's knee suffocating their necks. We put the world to right. We put the world to right. We put the world to right. We put the world to right.